first to go and unable to be caught, the speedy Ken Farrington and Tulane ran away with the World Cup win in thermal. Although I wouldn't say it was the hardest fought victory, as only 21 jumped the class for a whopping $340,000. Hey guys, are you enjoying Horse Bytes? Make sure to subscribe to our channel. We work hard to bring you our 5 and 10, so if it's not too much bother, we'd love your support. Don't be shy, comment below and join the Horse Bytes community. I never hold back when I share, so why should you? We want to hear your thoughts, so subscribe and follow along all the action here on Horse Bytes.
Welcome to Horse Bytes Ringside, your 5 and 10 5-star show jumping all in just 10 minutes.
It was a less hectic week of 5-star jumping as only one competition was contested around the world. The World Cup qualifier in thermal saw world number 4 Kent Farrington and Tulane beat out Jos Verlooy and FTS Colossary Confusion, the pair that's been on fire recently after winning last week's 4-star Grand Prix. It wasn't much of a fight, however, as Farrington annihilated the competition, beating out the next fastest competitor by over 2 seconds and leaving Verlooy in the dust by over 3 seconds. It seems like Verlooy knew his place, however. Have a listen to his strategy going into the jump-off.
I know Kent, they're very fast. The horse is mega fast. He had a very good jump-off. And I just started off and the horse jumped like very good 1 and 2. And I said, I'm not going to chance it, and I'm just going to do my own jump off. And just because I knew also how fast I go, it was almost impossible to beat Ken today. So I was just going for the clear round, smooth enough, and I was very happy with my second place.
It was a decent class, and we'll get into the highlights of the World Cup shortly, but first, a quick rundown of what's happening around the globe with the world's best. Richard Vogel won the 4-star in Wellington on Cidello again. They took the 3-star 2 weeks ago, so it's been a super strong start for the German in Florida. Nicola Philipparts, Matthias van Asten, and Kristen van der Veen all picked up qualifiers throughout the week. Elon Blumen picked up one of the biggest wins of his career so far with Akaju in the 4-star in Ocala, pipping the Olympic champion Christian Kukuk for an exceptional win. And Carl Cook won the 2-star Grand Prix in thermal with Etundel de Marosi. Now, let's get into the World Cup qualifier in thermal. The class had a pretty thin turnout despite the relatively high prize money on offer, and with only 5 riders from the top 100, it wasn't the most difficult class. That being said, no matter how you cut it, it's always horse and rider against the course, and not necessarily against each other, so precision is still necessary to take any 5-star victory, and Ken Farrington and Tulane did just that. The first round was a nice, simple course built to the specs. As is required in the majority of World Cup qualifiers, jumps are set between meter 40 and meter 60, with at least 2 verticals set at the maximum, plus a triple and double or 3 doubles. This week, Alan Wade went a bit softer on technicality, but fulfilled the requirements to the minimum. It wasn't huge, there weren't too many options, but with such a mixed field, it was just right. He got 7 clears of mostly veterans who handled the floodlights well and executed like professionals. Have a listen to Alan's thoughts on the night's course.
Tonight, they know better than I had envisioned, because there was a mixture in the field and I didn't know. But I just went with the dimensions that you have to for the more classes, the 160 verticals and the 153 oxers, but I kept the distances pretty fair and nice for everyone. I felt I didn't want to play around too much with the distances when you had the dimension, and the line was nice and it was there in front of you. There was no tricks, and it sort of evened out. There was little falls here and there everywhere around the course. I thought it was a good night's sport.
Kent was first out and made light of the first round, although he came pretty close to knocking down the most difficult jump on the course, the penultimate offset Liverpool vertical. It came as jump number 12 and followed a short distance after the triple bar, catching out a few top riders like Lily Keenan and Connor Swale, whose effort on My Lady La Vista was perhaps the hardest fought of the class. He didn't deserve the fault and was surely missed in the jump-off. The jump-off played out with a fair bit of excitement. Kent came out guns blazing as first to go. Definitely the worst position to be in statistically in a jump-off, but clearly it didn't affect his strategy.
I'm pretty confident on my plan. When I decide that I'm going to do something, I stick to it. And you know, when you know a horse well, whether you go first or in the middle, often makes no difference. And if you have fast riders coming after you, it also doesn't make a difference. My job in riding her in a jump off 1 to 2 on a rollback, I just tried to be a little bit wide. The next line is 7, which is short to the double. If you turn too early to the second fence, it puts you on an inside line, which then complicates the 7. So I tried to be a little wide and slow at the second, make the 7 work. Actually, it was a bit wider than I wanted to the next vertical, so I had originally planned to bend 6. I caught it open, changed my mind, I did 5, and then rolled to the last one as quick as I could. 9, I think, is the best option you could do tonight, and she ate up the ground for the last, made the 9 easy.
The time was going to be hard to beat regardless, and the rest of the jump-off competitors all had faults except the last to go, Jos Verlooy and Colossary Confusion, who'd eventually finish in second. Michaela Langmeyer and Mimosa van der Rollebeek gave it a good effort, trying to catch the penultimate vertical on a sweeping turn, catching the first distance, but couldn't leave it up. They'd eventually finish in third, but after winning a class earlier in the week, they'd certainly made the best of their maiden venture out west. The most unexpected part of the jump-off came when Caitlin Campbell and Castlefield Cornelius made a late decision across the middle to the green vertical, tried to leave a step out, and sort of swam through the jump. They made a small circle to recover and completed the course, but it certainly wasn't their night. They are, however, selected for the upcoming LLN for Team USA, so I'm sure we'll see more of the pair in the near future. Overall, it was a moderate competition. Not all 5 stars are equal, nor do they need to be, but for some perspective and compared to last week's World Cup in Amsterdam that saw 20 of the top 100 riders in the world, Thermal just doesn't pull the strongest field. California is tricky because, frankly, it's just far away. Desert Horse Park is a lovely venue with top facilities, top course designers, flashy jumps, etc. But with a steep price tag of entry and the cost of simply getting there, the turnout is usually less than desirable. Notoriously, over the past 20 years or so, the East Coast has been significantly stronger in terms of quality of riders, horses, and level of competitions, but that wasn't always the case. Many top riders from the 80s and 90s, such as Ann Krasinski, Susie Hutchison, Will Simpson, the U.S. chef to keep Robert Ridland, and of course, the world's first female #1 rider in the world, Meredith Michaels Beerbaum, all got their starts out in California. But California is like a small island in the equestrian world in the US. It's isolated, but with great year-round weather, it eliminates the need for travel. Compared to the snowbird culture of New York to Florida migrations, Californians rarely have a need to go elsewhere, so the equestrian sport got insular over the years. That is, of course, until recently. We caught up with a few riders to get their thoughts on the growth of the sport in recent years. Lily Keenan shared her thoughts about why she often makes the trek out west.
I think over the past decade, the level on the West Coast has really elevated, and they're starting to catch up with the East Coast, but obviously the volume is not the same. When you're in Florida, you could have maybe 15 people in the class that are really top, very successful riders that you could name many of them to win the class any day. Here, there's probably a smaller number that are at that level, but I think that it's growing, and it's great to come here to have different competitors and sometimes maybe a little bit better chance of being in the top 3.
Jos Verlooy also shared his thoughts on why he made the trip all the way from Europe.
Well, compared to Europe, I think, the prize money is more than Europe. Obviously the entry fee also, but just the sport is actually growing here for sure in California.
And California resident Caitlin Campbell weighed in on her feelings about having the East Coasters swoop in for the bigger competitions and the different opportunities the California shows offer.
It really just elevates the game. We are used to having Connor Swill here all desert long, so we are used to having to go fast to try to catch Connor and Gregory, so it just adds more people. I'm one of the few people in California that travel back to the East Coast the rest of the year. It's nice to come to California to really develop your string. You know, there's a lot of really good classes here at the Desert Horse Park, especially in national, a little bit lower level, to be able to bring those horses up but still be able to win some prize money, you know, instead of the East Coast where you're going against 100 people in the meter 40. It's really hard to pay your way to develop a young horse. So out here in California, there's really that opportunity.
The West Coast is certainly making a comeback in terms of high-level international competition these days, with multiple 5-star shows, including World Cup qualifiers, the MLSJ, and of course the upcoming 2028 Olympics in LA. In summation, it was a relatively easy-fought victory for Kent Farrington, and California competitions are looking up, despite still falling victim to only 90% world ranking points due to low participation. I'd give the class a 5.6 out of 10. Some good sport, but just not quite hitting the mark for what the top of our sport can offer.
Well, that's a wrap on this week's top highlights, but make sure to stay tuned next week for Florida's first big 5-star event and another World Cup leg out of Bordeaux. Stay tuned to all of our socials. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and follow along all the action as it unfolds here on Horse Bytes, your 5 in 10 5-star show jumping, all in just 10 minutes.